Just begin with your eyes closed. Any type of sitting position that works for you, cross-legged or on your shins. You can be sitting in a chair. You could be lying down as well. Just looking to get a little bit of that connection from top of the head down to the sole of the feet. No movement is necessary in these first couple breaths. It's more of a sound and the connection of breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. You can hear the sound. You also begin to feel that sensation. Instead of just breathing like you normally do all day, all night, you are breathing. Bringing the mindfulness in, making that connection, taking time for each breath. Breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. The simplest, the softest movements as you breathe in. This time the shoulders lift up towards your ears. As you exhale, you draw them behind you and lower the shoulders down. It's almost a small circular motion. As you breathe in, the shoulders come forward and up. As you breathe out, the shoulders go back and drop down. A few more just like that. Same movements, just only breathing in and out through the nose this time. Inhale. The next inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Bring your palms together. This is another detailed connection. Pushing your palms, each fingertip. As you bend your elbows, you breathe out and the thumbs come down the front side of the body. Hold the hands at the center of the chest or release them to the tops of your thighs is fine. Soft closing of the eyes. Setting an intention for your own practice. Setting a place for you to be connected. In other words, a place for you to be grounded. You have your mat, you are touching the earth. That is obvious. But to put your feet in sand or dirt or grass is another way to become grounded. Another way is to have heavier thoughts, and not heavier in a sad, but heavier that you are being drawn down to the earth, where we are sharing this space. So your intention for your practice could be very simple. It could be looking for the ability to create an additionally grounded sensation. It could be dedicating your practice to someone or a number of someone's on this planet, or that has no longer on this planet anymore with us. When you have taken a few breaths, you have located your space, softly opening your eyes, take a look down at your amazing yoga mat. You take your hands to the front edge. You walk your feet to the back edge with the knees down, the hands slightly in front of the shoulders, not exactly a tabletop position. It'll be smooth movements pushing forward onto the palms. As you breathe in, lift the chin. As you exhale, you breathe out and the hips go towards the heels. Just slow motion, not all the way forward, not all the way back. It's making that connection through the hands, the knees, and the tops of the feet, or you can have the toes tucked, feeling the toe tips on the floor. Go back and forth a few times. This is making the connection through the breath and the movement. As you come forward, you inhale. As you move back, you exhale. We'll start to go farther and farther here. As you inhale, come all the way through. Bring your hips towards your wrists, and you can lift the chin a small amount. On the exhale, the hips go closer towards the heels, and you start to pull the belly in to help push the air out. This time, as you start to come forward, you realize that the hands are gripping, creating a grounded effect. The hips can come all the way to the mat, and you lift the chin, you look up. Engage the belly, pull the navel in as you exhale. The hips move towards the heels, more of an extended child's pose, looking to get contact. Maybe the elbows or the forehead touch. Don't pause, come all the way through into your cobra. As you breathe in, fill up the lungs. The hips lower down, the spine arches, the chin lifts. Push down through the palms, pull the navel in. Hips go towards the heels, a child's pose. Push down through the toenails as well, reaching out through the fingertips. This time you're going into a downward facing dog. You grab the floor with the hands. You grab the floor with the feet. You lift the hips up to the ceiling. Adho Mukha, look towards your toe tips. Come forward into your plank pose. Breathe in. Exhale, knees down, hips to heels. Breathe out, child's pose. Come all the way through to a Cobra Pose. As you inhale, the hips move towards the backs of the wrists. Lift the chin and look up. As you exhale, the navel draws in. First, find the tabletop position. The toes tuck, the hips lift down and facing dog. Breathe out. 2 more just like that as you breathe into your plank pose. Strength through the arms, the hands, the legs, and the feet. As you exhale, the knees touch. Continue pushing the air out as the hips go towards the heels. Child's pose. Inhale, nice, fully all the way through to a Cobra Pose. Hips touch the floor, toe tips, lift the chin, arch. Exhale, first find the tabletop position, knees support, toes tuck, hands grab, hips up, downward facing dog. All the way forward to your plank pose. And pause here for a full cycle of breath. Hands planted, triceps engaged, high up on the toes, strong through the legs, strong through the arms. As the knees touch down, the hips lower towards the wrists. As you arch the spine, you lift the chin, you look up. As you exhale, the hips go towards the floor, child's pose. Moving into your tabletop position, the toes tuck, the hips lift, downward facing dog. Walk your feet to the front edge of your mat, lifting halfway up, inhale. Exhale, fold, hold on to the elbows or the forearms, let the head dangle, lift your toes up, splay your toes out, grab onto the floor with your feet. That deeper connection is where the foundation is created. Shake your head yes and no. Side to side, wiggle your upper body side to side, wiggle your hips side to side, a little bend into one knee, a little bend into the other knee. Drop your hands to the floor, the front edge of your mat is where they land, the feet move to the back edge of your mat. You come forward into your plank pose, knees down to the floor, hips to the heels, child's pose. Slide all the way through to a nice big expansive Cobra Pose. Hips drop, chest lifts, arch the spine, lift the chin. You find the tabletop position and pause. The toes tuck, the hips lift, downward facing dog. Walk your feet to the front edge of your mat. Lift the chest halfway up. Extend the base of the skull away from the shoulders. Arch the spine, engage the glutes. Exhale, fold forward. A slight grip on the heels or the ankles and the gentle pull. Walk the hands to the front edge of your mat. Feet move to the back edge of your mat. Plank. Dandasana. Kneels down. Hips to the heels. Child's. Breathing into a cobra. Tabletop to down dog. Feet forward, halfway lift. Fold. Holding on to the toes or the heels once again. Let the head dangle. Once you have your grip, keep that grip and inhale, straighten arms as you lift the chest. On the exhale, begin to pull a little bit more with the strength in the biceps. Also engaging the quadriceps to pull the knees in, the hips lift higher. One more halfway lift. Look forward at the front edge of your mat. On the exhale, pull a little bit deeper. Bend into the knees, bring the hands to the tops of the thighs. Roll your shoulders back, arch the spine, engage the lower back, lift the toes. Reach the arms up to the ceiling as you straighten the legs. Breathe in and ground down through the feet. Push your palms together. As you bend the elbows, bring your palms to the center of the chest. Relax your shoulders down. Close your eyes. Hands can stay in prayer position or release your hands down by your side. feeling the floor, feeling the mat, feeling that entire universe of vibration down through the soles of the feet. Bend into the knees, arms reach up, breathe in. Exhale, fold hands to the floor, step your feet to the back edge. You can do knees, chest, and chin, or the more traditional chaturanga, halfway down, low push-up. Back bend, arch the spine, upward facing dog. Hips up, downward facing dog. Push down equally through both hands, and then the left foot. The right leg lifts. Open up the right leg. You could bend and straighten that top leg. You can roll out the ankle. You can also come high up onto the left toes, or you can really drive down out through that left heel, and then slow motion, controlled, stepping the right foot in between the hands. Come high up onto the left toes. You bend the right knee. The arms sweep up. Breathe in. Exhale, fold hands down to the floor. Step your right foot back. Move through the full vinyasa into a downward facing dog. So it could be knees, chest, and chin if that feels more comfortable. You find the back bend, release the whole front side of the body. The hips go up, downward facing dog. Both hands are pushing down. The right foot stays in contact. The left leg lifts. You can open up the left hip and stack it on top of the right. Roll out the ankle, point the toes, flex the toes, bend and straighten that left leg. You can point that knee up to the sky or in front of you and roll out that hip. Slow controlled motion, left foot comes in between the hands, bend into the left knee, rounding through the right foot as well. The arms reach up, breathe in. And on the exhale, the hands float down. Left foot to the back edge of your mat. Meeting in the downward facing dog. Building heat, the connection throughout the whole body. Breathe in, find the back bend. Hips up, breathe out. Right leg up to the sky. Step the right foot forward. Nice high lunge. Bring the arms up to the ceiling. Reach out through the fingertips. Ground down through the right foot. If you like, you can access the hips deeper by bringing the hands to the outer edge of the hips, bending into the left knee, pulling the right hip back, squaring up the front of the hips and the chest. From here, if you like having the left knee bent, you're feeling a little bit more strength probably. If you want to drive down through that left heel, you're feeling a little bit more of the stretch there. Bend more into that right knee. Sweep the arms up to the ceiling, setting up for a twist. You might have your own version. You can just lay the left hand on top of the right thigh and reach the right fingertips back. Also look over your right shoulder. The other one would be drop the right hand, left arm reach up. And we'll float both hands down to the floor. The right leg goes back. You can skip or move through the full vinyasas halfway down into your back bend. Inverted view, downward facing dog. Other side is ready. Left foot forward. High crescent lunge. Strong bend into the left knee. Strong through the right leg. Arms reach up. Getting set in the sole of the left foot. So you can come higher up onto the right toes and bend the right knee. Hands could come to the outside edge of the hip. Right hip could come forward slightly. Squaring the front of the hips and the chest up to the front edge of your mat. Feeling the floor with the left foot. The arms reach up once again. You set up for the twist. You can have the right knee bent or straight. That part is really your choice. The right hand can just rest on top of the left thigh. Left arm reach back and look over the left shoulder. Of course, other variations, maybe the left hand drops down, the right arm reach up. Wheel both hands down to the floor. That left foot steps back. And once again, just getting that fluid motion. Finding the plank and low push-up. The back bend up dog is wonderful. Hips up, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, walk the feet forward. You sit down into the chair, the arms sweep up to the ceiling. You bring your palms together, bend your elbows. You Next breath in allows the chest to expand. The next breath out creates a compression as that left elbow crosses over the outside of the right knee. You can have quite a deep compression here, or you can just really get more twisting through the spine by arching that right shoulder back and looking up. If you're looking for more compression in the abdominal area, while you're bending the knees and rounding in slightly, using the thigh to help massage some internal organs. A nice breath in allows us to stand up straight, reach up, take a big breath in, little baby back. We're going to the other side. As you bend the knees, the palms come together, the thumbs come down to the chest. Continue exhaling as that right elbow, the right tricep passes to the outside of the left thigh. See if you can get the thumbs back down into the center of the chest. And from here, more twisting action comes from that left shoulder rolling back, creating an arch in the spine. More compression is a slight forward fold over the left thigh. And then as you release that twist, you open up, arms reach up, chest opens, belly opens. Exhale like a big waterfall all the way forward, down to the floor. Step your feet to your plank pose. Right leg up, three-legged dog. Right foot comes in between hands, softly lower down onto the left knee. You can have the left toes tucked or top of the left foot down. Bring the hands to the top of the right thigh first, and choose if you would like to bring that right foot forward some more and sink deeper into the low lunge. And then we'll go up with the arms. Use the air to inflate the chest as you breathe in. Helps lift the whole upper body. A couple different grips we'll play with. One is going to be the right hand holding on to the left wrist, left palm pushing up into the sky. Again, you take a big breath in to inflate and lift the torso up away from the hips. Now folding over towards the right side, try to eliminate the collapsing of the body. It's more of a lengthening by pushing out through the left hand. Keeping in mind, we're looking to have that right foot, most of the grounding is going through the sole of the foot, but also the top of the left foot. Push down through your left toenails or left toe tips. As you come back up through center, please drop the hands to the inside of the right leg and just straighten a halfway of the right knee and then bend back into that right knee. At this point, you can keep both hands down on the inside edge of the foot. You can walk the left hand slightly off the mat to the left side. And from here, you might choose to bring the right hand to the top of the right thigh. It could be a nice place to stay. You can flex the right toes up off the floor. You can sink a little deeper into that left hip is fine. If you're pushing down into the floor with great strength in the left hand, roll your left shoulder back, creating an additional arch to the spine, and possibly let that right hand float up. If you like to find that left leg behind you, well, you can bend it, the right hand can reach for that, really accentuating the opening of the front side of the body, the twisting of the spine, and the opening of that left hip flexor. If you're holding that foot, go ahead and release it and gently set the right hand down to the inside of the right foot. Squeeze the right knee and right tricep together as you breathe in. This allows the left arm to reach up, counter that twist, open up that slide that we just compressed. You set both hands down to the floor, slide the right foot to the back edge of your mat. We go hips up to the ceiling, downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the front edge of your mat, bend into the knees, arms sweep up to the sky. You take your chair pose. Lower your hands down to the horizon. The wrists are in line with the shoulders. Pop up onto the toes. Lift the heels up off the floor. Find your balance and see if you can pinpoint where you are grounded. One of your toes is probably working more than the rest of them. As you lower the heels down, you straighten the legs, breathe in. Take your hands to your lower back. You can have your feet separated hip width. You lift the chest, you bring the air into your nose. As you exhale, you just let the head slide off the shoulders behind you. As you breathe in, the chin comes down to the horizon. As you breathe out, you let the chin come to the chest. As you breathe in, the chin comes back to the horizon. The knees bend, the arms reach up to the sky. The exhale, lower the hands to the floor. Feet to the back edge of your mat. Left leg up, 3-leg dog. Left foot forward, right knee touches down. Hands come up to the top of the left thigh. Decide if you want to go a little bit farther forward with the left foot. Decide if you want to sink a little deeper into that right hip. You can have the choice with the right toenails down or right toe tips tucked under. Little variables on these stretches, both are great. You sweep the arms up to the ceiling. The grip is the left hand to the right wrist. And try and straighten that right arm so you get that right tricep really flexing up into the sky by pushing that right hand up. Look for length on the breath in. The whole torso expands upwards, and then you have that space to fold over towards the left. Use the breath to come back to center. The hands drop down to the inside of the right leg. And just hang out there. If you want to go a little bit more into the stretch, it's fine. You just slide either the left toes forward or right knee back, and you don't have to go much farther. If you got some more distance, you can slide the right hand out a little bit and grab onto the floor with that right hand. The left hand could come to the top of the left thigh. Great place for a few breaths. And some others, venture might be really pushed down into that right hand. Roll the right shoulder back, opens up the chest. Left arm lifts up, looking for that space, reaching up. And sometimes you want to look for that right leg behind you. You can bend it and take that grip on the top of the foot, the toes, or the ankle. Lifting the chest, arching the spine, getting some twist. Gently releasing the right leg if you have it. The left hand comes down to the inside of the left foot. Push down through that hand, the right hand reaches up. The right hand comes down to the floor. Left foot steps back. Hips up, downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the front edge of your mat. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Let the head fall. Let the upper body fall. Halfway lift, breathe in. Maybe straightening the legs a little bit more, checking in with the hamstrings. Exhale, head falls, torso falls. Hips go higher. Decide on a grip. It could be fingers on toes. It could be hands underneath the front of the feet, gorilla pose. Toe tips up to the wrist crease. It could be hands on ankles or heels. You can have your arms wrapped around the back sides of your legs. Let the upper body go farther down to the floor and the hips go higher up to the sky. And go halfway up, releasing the forward fold. On exhale, set the hands down, bend the knees, come up onto the toes. Bend the knees and lift the heels so much that the heels lift and the hips come down to rest near them. You can stay on a couple fingers. We're looking to pinpoint the location that you're connected to the earth. So some great yogis, they have depicted the body as an antenna. So an antenna or a lightning rod. And at the top of the head is the crown. That's where the light comes through, the energy comes through, all of those fun stories. And down in our feet is where we ground, like we create roots. So you can look at the toes. An easy way to see is one of your toes is going to be turning white. That's the one that's working hardest. And toes that are not really involved, they're just regular color. So try and even out which toes is equal. Go ahead and use the hands. Lower yourself down onto your bottom. Extend the legs out. Use your hands for support. Just bounce the legs up and down. Lower down onto your tailbone. Walk the hands back somewhat. Bend the knees. Bring the feet closer in. And from here, start with your hands on the ground and just extend the right leg up. Look for a 45-degree angle with that right leg. You can have the toes pointed or flexed. Just keep that left leg where it is. Slowly lower the left heel down, but just keep it floating an inch off the floor. Push down through the hands so you get a lift of the chest. It's arching the spine. We'll do 2 more. Right leg only. Up, right leg down. Right leg up, right leg down. Bend the right leg, set the sole of that foot there. Extend the left leg out. Look for that 45-degree angle. Push down through the hands, reinvigorate the arch, chest lifts up, left leg down, left leg up. Lower, and lift. And 1 more here. Bend that left leg, both feet touch down, reach the arms up, reach the arms out past your toes, arms up. This time when you set the hands down, the legs lift up. You can have the shins parallel to the floor is fine. You can keep your hands down. Of course, you can also hold on to the backs of the thighs. Point the toes or flex the toes. Those are up to you. You can have the ankles and knees touching or about hip width apart. That is up to you. But lift the chest. Don't let that be an option. Engaging the lower back, feeling stability on the tailbone area. Lifting the chest helps keep the vertebrae aligned and it works on the abdominal strength, your core. You can release the legs, you can straighten the legs, you can release the arms and straighten those. From here, cross the calf and the shin. Roll forward, hands touch the floor, feet step back, hips up, down dog. Relax and breathe into this. It is an inversion. The head is below the heart. Take a look at your fingers, take a look at your toes. Get them to splay out and equal pressure as best to your ability through each appendage. And see if you can push down through the heels and stretch the shoulders away from the hips. Engage the quadriceps, pull the kneecaps in and relax the face. Breathe into a plank pose. Breathe out, right leg up. You step the right foot forward. This will be a warrior 1 as you push down through the left heel. Right foot is grounded, sweeping the arms up. Lift the chest, breathe in. Right hand to your left wrist. Push up through the left palm. Fold over towards the right side. Lift the chest as the air inflates. Drop the hands down. Either it could be thumb tips on your lower back, or you can find the clasp grip, interlacing the fingers, maybe rolling the shoulders back, straightening the arms. Bend back into that right knee. Keep the left heel down, grabbing onto the floor with that left foot. Reach the knuckles down the back of the left thigh, chin lifts. And from here you can fold forward, torso can rest on top of the thigh. Hands can move away from the hips. Drop the head down. Possibly slide the right shoulder to the inside of the right knee. Bringing the top of the head, the crown of the skull closer to the floor. As you begin to lift the chest and the chin, you release the arms up to the ceiling, straighten through the right leg, and start to reach the hands out past the right toes. Really engage the quadricep to help protect that knee. And then you can start to let the hands down either onto the shin, the top of the foot, the fingertips close to the floor. If it is uncomfortable on the back side of the right leg, a little bend, of course, is safe and okay. Let the head drop, bringing the chin or the forehead or the nose towards that right knee. You can also have the hands on the floor, the left foot grounded, right foot grounded. A slight clockwise rotation by pulling the right hip back helps elongate the spine, deepening the compression on the inside of that hip. Go ahead and release the pyramid pose. The hands are supported. Pivot the left heel up, step the right foot back. Lower down onto both knees with the toes tucked. Set the hips onto the heels. Bring your hands to the top of the thigh. You can have a gentle bow, chin to chest, soft closed eyes. But see if you can get those toes to tuck under. And if it feels uncomfortable, it's a lot of comments or this is uncomfortable. I agree with you. That's good. Hands down, hips up. Left leg forward, warrior one. Pivot to right, heel down, bend into that left knee. Arm sweep up, lengthen the chest. Feel your feet. Left hand to the right wrist. Lengthen up through the body. You fold over towards the left. Lengthen up through center. Hands drop down. Again, the comfortable place is just having the tips of the thumbs in your lower back, just on the tops of the hips. Helps to stabilize the hips. You can bend a little bit more into the left knee. You're welcome to reach your arms back up to the ceiling if you like, or you can have the clasp hands behind, interlacing the fingers. If the arms stay bent, just do your best, roll the shoulders back. Possibly the arms do straighten, sink down into that front leg, also push out through that right heel. You do your best to get that counterclockwise rotation on this side, pulling the left hip back, pushing the right hip forward. Start to slide the fingers down the back of the right thigh by lifting the chest and looking up. And then humble warriors, folding forward, torso to the top of the thigh, and let the head hang, just rest, relax. Or go a little bit more through the depth by sliding the left shoulder to the inside of the left leg. Try and release the forehead and the face, relax and breathe, sink into it. Allow the softness to create the depth. You sweep the chest and the chin, and the arms reach up, you breathe in, the left leg straightens. Take a big lift as a big breath. You're coming forward by reaching the fingertips out past the front of the toes. Engage that quadricep, plugs that knee in. Right hip comes back, right hip moves forward, left hip goes back. Moving to the pyramid, you can just stop right here with the hands on the shins is a great place. Decide if you want to straighten that left leg a lot. You can slide the hands down to the top of the foot is great. You can come down onto the fingertips. This is where we look for the little additional length in that spine. You breathe in, it's almost an arching of the lower back by pushing the sternum forward, reaching out through the chin or the crown of the head, and then we allow the depths to start to fold in. The head softens as you let it drop. You choose what you're doing with your hands. It could be farther out in front of you, bringing your palms together to prayer, or wherever you're at, so you can get the right hip around a little bit more and pulling that left hip back. You start to release the pose. You lift the chin, come up onto the fingertips, bend into that left knee, pivot up onto the right toes, left foot steps back, set the knees down. This would be setting up for a hero's pose, so get yourself comfy before you go into any depth. The feet and the knees are a little bit wider than the hips. Wiggle yourself in between those ankles, using the hands for support, holding stability in the core. You can bring the knees a little closer together if they allow, pushing down through the toenails. Hands can be on top of the thigh, chest lifted, shoulders roll back, with soft eyes, soft face. Breathe in, breathe out. And coming forward, the hands meet up at the front edge of the mat, the toes tuck, hips go up to the sky. And step your feet forward, bend into the knees, lift the heels. You can use the hands for support. You're going to lower down onto your butt. You extend the legs out, bounce them up and down, straight. Keep the left leg where it is. Use the hands behind you. Draw that right ankle on top of the right thigh. So the right ankle is just above the right left knee, and the right knee can be pointing up a little bit is great, or you can let it lower down so it's horizontal. Oh, some of you might have that knee a little bit lower, that's fine. Take a breath in, lift the chest. Here again, use the hands for support, as well as the lower back and the abdominals to hold the pose and start to lift the left leg up. You can go for the 45 degrees if you feel that's possible, and then slowly lower it and just keep it floating there. Only one more, lift that leg up. This time, bend the left leg, set that foot down. Some of you will have that left ankle away from the hips a distance, or you can draw the hips closer to that ankle. See if you have a little bit of movement in that right knee, letting it bounce up and down. You can come as close as you like with the hips to the heel. You can walk the hands in as close as you like to the hips as well. Lift the chest, lift the chin, breathe in. And then it's just a slight folding forward and bringing the forehead towards either the toe or the shin. Keeping the hands where they are, you can slide that left foot forward and then let the right leg drop over the top of that left thigh. From here, it's just let the hips go side to side, wiggling on that foot. We'll go two directions. First, I think it'd be a little bit more comfortable. Just drop both knees over to the right side. Push a little bit more down through that left hand. This is where some sensations might sneak up. As you arch the spine, you lift the chest, you can look straight up or you can look over your left shoulder. You come back up to center, you're releasing that twist. And this time it's going to be the knees over to the left side. So to gain access to this, if you don't have it already, you can heel toe your left foot over towards the right. And then you can drop the left foot down, keeping that left knee tucked behind. So the right foot is touching, and it's the left knife edge of that foot. You can just arch the spine here. If you feel like you have more access, then it'll be a bit of an eagle pose by lowering the inside edge of the right ankle towards the floor. As you come back to center on that one, go ahead and uncross the legs, straighten both legs, bounce them up and down, walk the hands forward, sweep the arms up to the ceiling, possibly just letting your hands rest on your shins is fine, or taking a grip on the toes. Wherever you're at, hold on with the hands, lift the chest, lift the chin, breathe in, arch the spine, not folding all the way forward, not trying to get the torso to touch the thighs, but it's just pulling the legs with the hand or pulling the toes with the hand and extending the sternum forward. You get a little bit more length in the tailbone area, the sacrum, and the lower back stretch. That part, it is wonderful to have access to that area. You come up through neutral, keep the left leg straight, roll over onto the left hip, and then bend the right leg behind you. A couple different directions. One is bringing that right knee really close in, or you can have that right knee really wide out. That's up to you. You can try one and see if that's wonderful, or you can try the other and choose. And from here, it's more of just a wiggling of the left leg and the hips and allow the soft opening. It's a deep area to work on, but just nice soft opening where you got that knee going on, you got that hip going on. Also, some smaller parts would be the ankles and the toes. A couple options for the hands. Of course, your prayer position is wonderful, or you can fold forward by walking hands in 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, somewhere in that direction. Coming back up, paying attention to the right knee. As you roll over onto the left hip, you get that right leg out in front of you. Bounce that one up and down. Keep the right leg where it is. Walk the hands back so you have space on the front. You lift that left leg up. Cross that left ankle on top of the right thigh. These abdominal exercises in the top of that thigh is where you're looking to get some action. You take a breath in. On the exhale, you can use that pull of the belly in to get that right leg to float up. Yes. And then maybe just one time, lower it down so it's floating there. You get that right leg back up and then bend it. Set the sole of that foot down. Just let the hips wiggle side to side. Let the knees wiggle side to side. You want the heel and butt closer together, it's good. If you have them far apart, that's good. If you want the hands closer in, that's good. If you want them farther back, that's also good. We're just getting a little bit more contact with the tailbone and the sacrum area by lifting the chest, arching the spine, pushing down through the hands, drawing the shoulder blades towards the hips, towards that tailbone. Now you can let that left leg slide a little bit farther down the top of that right thigh. And this time it's going to be going over towards the left side. The knees start to drop in. Pushing down to the hands. Lifting the chest and arching. Maybe looking over the right shoulder. I like that spot. Going back to center. Both hips touch down, and then it's going to the right side. And again, if you want, you can heel toe that right foot over. It allows a very immediate access to that area. If you keep that heel directly in line with your hips, that's fine too. It's just a little deeper stretch. So sometimes without the heat, I prefer different variations. You start to let the legs come down, and possibly it's just the sole of the left foot that touches. You're still getting great benefits there. If you're looking for a little bit of depth, you slide that left inner ankle down to the floor. And here we're coming back to center. Uncross the legs, walk your hands forward next to the hips, wiggle the hips side to side, bounce the knees up and down, point the toes, flex the toes, bend both knees in, bring the soles of the feet together. You can hold the ankles or the front of the shins or the toes. You wiggle the hips side to side, get the sitting bones more connected. The tailbone touches down. The sacrum starts to become integrated into this grounding process. You can allow the knees to flutter up and down. Lift the chest, push the sternum forward, arch the lower back, reach the chin and the chest forward as opposed to rounding in. Stay lifted. The elbows, forearms can massage the inner thighs and also give more access to this forward pushing sensation through the sternum. Shoulders actually roll back a bit. Soft face, relax the jaw. And you start to come back in. You can lift the feet up so you're just balancing on the tailbone. You can cross the shin and the calf, roll forward, hands to the floor, feet to the back edge of your mat, downward facing dog. Breathe into your plank pose. Breathe out to a three-leg dog, right leg up. Pigeon pose is the direction to move the right knee forward. You set that knee down, lower down onto the right hip, the left knee touches. Use the hands to help get yourself situated. You can flex the right toes quite a bit. Maybe bring that right shin a little bit more forward. Maybe move the right knee out to the right slightly. None of those are necessary. You can relax the left leg and then push down through the left toenails. What that does is help gain access to the straightness of that left thigh. which in turn helps to rotate that left hip around. Staying upright is wonderful and exciting. Coming forward and lowering down onto the hands and forearms is wonderful and restorative. See, like you guys know I'm at the studio, right? I feel like you guys are here with me, so thank you for sharing this place and still making this happen. To express the level of gratitude that all of the teachers and staff at Play have for the ones that have been supporting us through this. Thank you is not enough. You tuck the left toes, push down through the hands, engage the left leg, pull the belly in to lift the hips up. Let that right leg just free itself up into the sky. You can straighten it and bend it and roll it around, and then set it down. Push down to the right toes. Before the left leg lifts, make sure the right leg is reset. Left leg goes up. Pigeon pose on the other side. The left leg comes forward. The left ankle, left knee, left hip, right knee. Move into a certain order. There is a certain number of steps, whether you want it to be or not. You can't really change that order too big of a difference. So the first area that touches down is your first connection. The next area that touches down is the next connection. You can make some small adjustments and get one part of the body to touch first, but it's really just noticing and being mindful of what area does touch first. It's like when you're just normally walking, you really don't pay attention to if your heel touches the ground first or your toes touch the ground first. But if you're walking down a big flight of steep stairs, you probably are paying a little bit more close attention to which part of your foot is touching. And begin to push down through the right toenail. Helps to get the right knee grounded. Helps to roll that right hip down more, which in turn deepens the pose quite quickly. Staying upright is great. Coming forward down into it is also great. Beginning to break the pose. The hands come underneath. The right leg is strong. The abdominal core area is strong. The left leg just lifts and floats. You can straighten it and bend it and roll it out. The left toes come down. The knees come down. You bend the elbows. The chest comes forward and down. The hips touch the floor. Bend the knees. Let the feet fall side to side. We'll do 3 sets of this back bend here. So the first one, you can have the right arm bent parallel at the elbow to the front of your mat, and the left hand can reach back. You actually have a choice. Some of you, if you want to hold on to the left leg, you can. If you want to hold on to the right leg, you can also do that one too. It's just a little different sensation. It works a little smaller muscle on one side, that's all. Maybe it's just a little something new and fun and exciting for you. And switch your arm. Left arm comes bent to 90 degrees, parallel front edge of your mat. Right hand reaches back. For the right foot is probably the more conducive, more basic one. Reaching for the other leg, it's not that it's more depth in the pose, it's just more advanced because reaching farther across. And release that one. From here, if you want, you can just do one leg at a time again. This final set here is going to be both legs, both hands. You really don't have to think this super deep bull pose, Dhanurasana. When the knees start to lift, the kick begins. If you're going extremely deep into a back bend, you're looking for a teardrop symbol. The toe tips are reaching towards the ceiling, the shoulders are rolling back. What I'd like to ask you to do is, instead of your hands or your feet being your grounding connection to the earth, it's the area in between your ribs and your hips. Some might look at it as the navel, your belly button. And if you start to consider this, there is a portion of your life in the very beginning that your grounding effect was your navel. Your feet were not touching the floor yet. It was your mother's feet that was touching the floor. Well, all of your sensory aspects were coming in through that port, right where we're balancing on now. You can still create that grounding effect. Most of us do not have the memory of that. That makes sense. Release the legs, hands come down to the floor, legs straighten, push up into a Cobra Pose to release that area of tension that possibly was created in between the ribs and the hips. Just let the belly fall out, but engage the glutes to help protect the lower back, and then push yourself into a child's pose. The big toes come together, the knees separate, the hips move towards the heels. You can bring your forehead to the floor and touch the mat. You can bring your palms together and bend your elbows, and thumbs come to the base of the skull. As the hands come down to the floor, make your way to a tabletop position. It's just one cat-cow to see if we can equalize some new area of the spine. A gentle arching as you breathe in, you inflate the chest. And exhale as a gentle rounding. The tailbone reaches towards the heels as the center of your spine pushes up to the ceiling. You find a neutral position. You can do a big, nice opening by pushing down to the left hand, reaching up to the right. This will be threading the needle. That right arm comes underneath the left armpit, setting down onto the right shoulder, as well as the side of your face, your top of your head on the side, your temple, your ear, somewhere on the side of your head. Plenty of variations here. Everything can just stay exactly where it is, or you can slide the left hand forward. Sometimes that just allows a more comfortable position. You can also extend the left leg back or out to the side if you're looking for some additional access to the length of the pose. To make your way to a neutral position, if the left leg was doing something, you get that knee down. If the left hand was doing something, you get that back into the left shoulder. You take a breath in and start moving through the abdominals as the right arm reaches up. You open yourself up, and there it is. From here, the right hand connects down. The left arm reaches up. Push down to the right hand so you maintain that grip. And as you exhale, you slide that left arm, come all the way through, down onto the left shoulder, even onto the left shoulder blade, moving onto your back side. Maybe the right hand does some optional movement. The right leg can also join in with some optional movement. Come back down and connect with the right knee. Come back through, connect with the right hand. You push down through that hand, the abdominals start to engage as you sweep that left arm up. The breath in happens. As you exhale, you set the left hand down. Walk the hands towards the knees, bring the knees together, tops of the feet down for this one. Then walk the hands back next to the toes. You can keep the hips down, you can keep the fingertips down. You just arch the spine and lift the chest. From here you can let the head fall off. If you're loving this and want additional back bending sensation, what you can do is come back through center, lift the hips, hands come to your hips, and let the head fall off from here behind you. You come back to a neutral. This one is going to be setting the top of the head down. You can just have your hands next to your knees is fine. You're looking for the top of the head, the crown of the head. And if you're familiar with the rabbit pose and really want to get some deep extension through the spine, you're holding on to the heels. It's not necessary for this exercise. You can just have your hands, palms face up next to your legs, but getting the hips to lift so the top of the head, the center, the crown of the skull is what's on the floor. Maybe you have the hands next to the knees, on the outsides of the ears to take some of the pressure off. Maybe move a little bit forward and back, looking for that center, searching for that prime spot, grounding through the top of the head, your skull. You start to come out of that, there's a possibility that your world has just changed. Congratulations. If your world didn't just change, let's do some breathing. Find a position that you can sit in. Maybe it's on the shins. Maybe it's with your legs crossed. Find a position that you would like your hands to be in. Palms could be face down on top of the thighs. Palms could be face up. You can also create a bit of a bowl with your hands. Back of the hand in the palm of the other hand. Right here, next to your belly. Breathe in, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, chin lifts slightly. Breathe out, chin drops slightly, relax the shoulders, let the belly fall out more. And close your eyes, reconnect with your intention. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? It is good to check in with yourself. It is good to question yourself. Am I an expert? No, but I have been doing this training for a while, and it is healthy to check in with yourself. Where are you today? I will begin this breathing. You will hear it. It will get stronger, and then it will begin to soften. When you start to feel that it's time for your breath to soften, that's when you allow yourself to move into your full Shavasana, the final pose of the evening. Before I leave you, thank you so much for sharing this time with you. Some call this breath of fire. You can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. It is a pulling in of the stomach, and it goes like this. Namaste, friends. Have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourself. Be well. Be kind.